Hello, happy Tuesday, and holy shit. How is everybody doing this evening? I am John, one of your usual hosts. Our other usual suspect, Jay, is on vacation. I don't know if you've checked out his Instagram lately, but he has been posting pictures of scotch and mezcal and all other form of delicious drinks while the rest of us are working and doing things. So hopefully you guys follow him on Instagram, Twitter, or someplace, and you have been berating him for his actions. I wanted to jump in a little bit here, say hello, happy Tuesday, and see what you guys are drinking. Go ahead and throw that in the chat for me. You can see here I got the whiskey campfire back up tonight. I have a little bit of the Old Forester Statesman going on. I recently got a bottle of that, gifted to me for my birthday the other week. And it's this, I think, second or third bottle that I've had. I really dig it. So I'm looking forward to having a little bit of that tonight while you guys tune in with what you got going on here. Let's see. I mentioned that Jay's on vacation, as you can tell, because his beautiful face isn't here. He's not laughing at my idiotic jokes. So a good portion of the stream tonight is probably going to be catching up on a little bit of news. I'm going to fill you guys in on some stuff that we have upcoming. And then I'll probably go ahead and pull in a couple of guests from the Whiskey Net. I'll go over a little bit of all that again here in just a minute after we get a little bit going on. Yancey says he's not drinking tonight, but I don't entirely believe that. And let's see. So let's quickly touch on what we've been doing here recently on the stream. Last weekly whiskey we had David Jennings, DJ Rarebird 101. Excuse me while I scratch my eye for just a moment. He popped in. We did a little blind with some Wild Turkey, Kentucky Spirits. That was really fun. If you didn't see that, go ahead and just dig back to the video archives there on my channel and Jay's. Leighton, what's going on? Good to see you guys coming into chat. I appreciate you. Before that, we did a Penelope bourbon blending event, which was really cool. We twisted up our own concoction of bourbon for Penelope, or for our bourbon, sorry. With Penelope, we had the owners Mike and Danny on there. That was really cool to sit down and come up with our own customized little blend, and we'll be putting that together here shortly. I think Jay's going to have more news on that. It should be really soon. Actually, we submitted all the label information the Monday after the show. Joel, thank you for showing up. Good to see you. So that's kind of it for like the recent stuff that we just popped out with. In terms of what is going to be upcoming here this past week or so, Maker's Mark dropped their press release for the 2020 limited edition, and looks like Count 40 is joining in here shortly. So the 2020 Makers Limited is going to be the follow-up to the RC6, which I thought was really cool. I reviewed that one pretty positively. I thought it was a nice twist for what Makers usually does, and hopefully we could try some of that out shortly. I think I might have some of that coming in pretty soon to try out. Additionally, in the review world, I threw together the Elisha Craig Toasted review that just went out today. That was nice. Let me know what you guys think about that one if you've tried that. That's a pretty interesting one too. Anybody, I saw the way that I've been looking at that one is if you're a fan of the Woodford Double Oak, you may not be a fan of the Elijah Toasted. That seems to be how it's going. Oh, here we go. Take's joining in from the comforts of vacation. He's sitting on the dock, nude, having a nice pour of gin. His neighbors have already called the cops twice today. Good to see you, Jason. Thanks for stopping in, man. I appreciate you. Another review going to be popping up this week is the Old Fitz 9, which Jay just reviewed, I think, last week or the week before. So you should be able to get some pretty good reviews on that. I think there's a chance that we might end up talking about that one on a show here soon, depending on how everything else works out. See, if you look in the chat there, Jay says that he is, in fact, nude. Okay. We're going to be pulling in a couple of guests from the Whiskey Net. If you're in the Whiskey Net Discord, first of all, you're winning. Secondly, go ahead and shoot me a DM if you want to jump in and chat for a little bit. We'll do a little bit of who are you, what are you drinking, what do you do? We'll go over all that stuff here shortly. I think maybe we could go into a little bit. Now that Jay's here, I don't know if I can say all the stuff I was going to. I had a whole bunch of news that's going to leak out here. And now that the boss man's here, I'm going to have to retract some of my statements here. Anyway, for upcoming stuff here that you're going to see on this channel, as well as Jay's channel, for the weekly whiskey stream, we're going to be doing the Knob Creek Single Barrel Select here shortly. Jay has the kit in hand. I think you've probably seen that on his social media. The big, beautiful 8,000-pound box that Knob Creek sent to him. We're going to be going through that and choosing a single barrel of Knob Creek bourbon for the Our Bourbon community. That should be forthcoming here. I don't actually know the dates. I could probably check, but Jay does all the scheduling, and I do all the well, I don't really do a lot of the anything, I guess, but he does most of the scheduling. And while he's doing that, I sit around and drink, and I poke fun at him. The stream after that, we'll have Traverse City Whiskey Co. That one's going to be pretty exciting. So I'm going to be throwing together an entire week of reviews for Traverse City Whiskey Co. So I'm going to drop one review every morning at 8 o'clock Eastern from Monday to Friday, starting on the week of the 7th here shortly. And on the 8th, that will be Tuesday, we'll do a weekly whiskey with Chris Fredrickson of Traverse City Whiskey Co. So that'll be pretty cool to get them together. We'll review their stuff, talk about their products. They just recently did their Cherry Fest stream, which was a pretty cool little. They did a. I don't have any of the stuff here handy, but maybe I do. Did a whole little presentation kit. They sent you a little poker chip there that if you bring that to their bar, you get a free cocktail or something. And overall, that was a pretty cool thing. They had a ton of really great music that was live. A couple of hiccups through their stream, but overall, it worked out pretty good. Coming up after that, we will be sitting down with our buddy Jason from the Mash and Drum. I think he's in the chat tonight. Give him a shout out. If you guys don't already follow the Mash and Drum on YouTube, you got to subscribe to that. He just did a really kick-ass interview the other day with the president of Old Forester. That was really entertaining stuff, and got like a really good candid conversation too. So that's something you're going to want to check out. And then we're going to sit down with Jason and do some blind pours, talk a little bit about his community, Discord, things like that. Sort of just tie it all together with whiskey and, fun, bourbon, things like that. Looks like we just had somebody drop out of the green room there. I'll double check on that just a moment. And circle back around to the other upcoming stuff that we're going to have. So it looks like we'll be sitting down with Barrel Bourbon to discuss their brand, their vision, and their products. That'll be really fun. We've got Jay and I have a flight of their products to go through on the stream, which should be pretty cool. It'll be a little bit different. I think we've got a dovetail, a bourbon, and then maybe a finished bourbon or a rye. I'm not entirely sure. I don't recall. But that should be a fun one. I'm really looking forward to that. So moving on down the line for more. I wonder how much of this I was supposed to tell you guys. I think Jay told me that I could tell you about half of it. So I think so far we're doing all right. Let's see. Additionally here, I'm going to be sitting down with Blake Reiber from Sealbox. You may also know him from Bourboner. You may also know him as Cal Ripken from the Bourbon Pursuit Bourbon Community Roundtable, as he's been to every single episode. We're going to sit down with him, review some craft whiskey bottles, and just kind of talk about the craft world a little bit in general. That should be a pretty fun time. I think we'll have a good time doing all that. Hopefully Whiskey Cam doesn't keep trying to break on me. And then I think that's all I'm really supposed to say. That's probably more than I was supposed to say for our schedule, because what will happen now is half of that stuff won't fucking work. I'll end up breaking something, or, Jay will delete half of it on me because I said too much. So I think what we're going to do is talk a little bit now about the Whiskey Net, which is kind of a project that I launched to help further the whiskey world. It all kind of started out where I realized that there's a disconnect between social media and real whiskey geeks. There's the guys who want to sit up front of a whiskey store or a ABC store or whatever it is that you have, camp out, try to get themselves some bottles, and they get them, and they either open them with their buddies or they sell them on Facebook or, whatever it is that they're doing. And those guys are going to do their thing. And then there's the people who don't want to do the flipping or the other secondary stuff, and they just want to hang out and chat. And maybe guys from both worlds want to do both of those things. Who knows? And I just thought that there was a better way to integrate everybody in the whiskey space. And I really kind of shoved the idea of using a Discord server down Kenny Coleman's throat, the host of the Bourbon Pursuit podcast. And eventually he decided to shut me up and say, okay, go ahead, build me a server. We did it. It exploded pretty quickly. We got a ton of people in there, always chatting, always trading bottles, trading samples, doing all sorts of different things and having a lot of fun. And I've sort of expanded on that and decided that if there's a way that I can impact the whiskey world positively, it is going to be through communication. And this, weekly whiskey is one way that Jay and I are kind of working on that, but we're also doing it through Discord too. And one way that we're able to kind of involve everybody is just opening it up and saying, like, it doesn't matter what you like or how you like to drink it or what you want to talk about, but like, let's all just get together and do all of those things all at the same time. And through the Whiskey Net, we've been able to open up and have a lot of great conversations with people. And I think actually, if I dig into the green room now, we should be able to pull in some folks that are in the Whiskey Net Discord server who are looking to hang out, looking to have some fun, and they want to talk whiskey. And I'm here for it. So I just want to bring anybody in who's looking to do that. It looks like we've got a previous guest of the Weekly Whiskey Show here, Kogan the Auditor, who helped us choose some whiskey once already. He's a master blender in his own right, even though we didn't select his blend. And let's go ahead and see if Kogan wants to jump in here with us. Kogan, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well tonight.
Excellent. So what do you got going on? Are you sipping on anything tonight?
Well, I just finished my sample of the 17-year bottled in bond from Wild Turkey.
Nice. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Oh, it's the best of the Master Keep series, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when compared to the original 17-year they had that was like 44% or somewhere around there.
Yeah, that was pretty cool juxtaposition how they released two different 17s, which I thought was a little bit crazy too, to choose 17 as the release for that to follow up on theirs. They don't do a whole lot of bottled and bond. I think it was only their second ever, right?
Yeah, from when I was doing my write-up on it for my review, it was their only second ever. I'm not entirely sure what their first one was off the top of my head.
I think it was an American Spirit, but don't hold me to it. DJ's going to kill me. He was just on the show last week.
If there was anyone to ask, he'd be the one to know.
Yeah, he most certainly knows. That was one of the ones that came in from lower floors too, and it was something silly like 86 proof, I think, and it was barrel proof, but it was extremely low because it sat on the lower floor.
And it was in a stone rick house setup versus in a regular style one.
Correct. I think it spent a bunch of time at Castle and Key. Oh, it might have been before it was Castle and Key. I don't remember. At the old Taylor warehouses.
Yeah.
So you just finished that up. Did you put up your review yet? Have you scored it and all that?
Yeah, for mine, I gave it an 8, which is pretty high.
That's high praise,
for me. Yeah, I thought it was good. And if I was in the middle of purchasing a house, I'd probably go out and source a bottle for myself.
Nice. Yeah, that's definitely high praise. I think I scored it an A-, which for me, using the grade school type of deal, is sort of like C is like my middle of the road. Like, yep, it's okay. It's fine. I could take it or leave it. Nothing wrong with it, but I'm not crazy. And then from there up, sort of apply it like you would. The one thing that I like to sort of use to my advantage, I guess, in that scoring system is sometimes like an A in one course in school isn't the same as an A in another. Like,
yeah,
like if you're Jay and you get an A in math, and you're like, oh yeah, cool, whatever. I knew I was going to get that. So, but if you're me and you get an A in math, you're like, in your face, Jay, like you think you did something awesome. So I like to look at my scale that way, where I'm not good with numbers anyway. I don't like to do the numerical stuff. It's not as analytical and it's probably not as professional, but I'm kind of an ass. So what do you got going on tonight? You just hanging out, watching a little whiskey stuff?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Chilling
Excellent.
Out after work, just hanging out, watching this, trying to recover from Sunday. Sunday was a Ohio Rum Society bottle share, and I drank approximately 15 different bottles of rum over 6 hours.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, yesterday was a bit rough.
I imagine it was. We had a charity event with the Bourbon Pursuit last week where we did like a giant fundraiser. We raffled off a bunch of bottles and everything, which turned into, I think the total event wound up being like 4 or 5 hours long. And things got rather spicy. And I actually received messages the next day, one of which was, I'm never drinking again. In a bourbon community, so that we did a pretty good job.
That's definitely how I felt on Monday, because the event officially stopped at like 5:30 or 6 on Sunday, and well, We just stayed and hung out until 9 p.m.
Of course you did. Well, I think what I'm going to do now, Kogan, is bring in another guest here. I'll stick you back in the green room for just a minute if you want to hang out. And then,
Sounds good to me.
depending how many people pop in here, I might pull everybody back in for a final toast here. And we'll call it a night once we close that out.
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks for jumping in, buddy. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me in.
All right. That was Kogan the Auditor. I'm sure you've seen him on Reddit. That's Lifephone Accountant. If you haven't seen his reviews, it sounds like he's got a fresh one up there for you to go check out. Let's see here. We've got Con 40 coming in, another Whiskey Net member. Mr. Con 40, how are you?
Hey, John, how you doing?
Excellent, man. Excellent. What do you got tonight?
So I just popped open the Bourbon Pursuit Hawaiian Hammer, the Old Forester barrel-proof, or not barrel-proof, 90-proof pick.
Oh, that's right. That's the last of the 90 proof picks, too. I think they selected that in May. Was it May? No. It was one of the last selections that was made before they went to the 100 or barrel proof. Let's get funky, says Chris. Yeah, I'm with you. So that the Hawaiian Hammer is a 5-year?
Probably 4 to 5 year. I don't see a pick on age statement on it.
Okay.
4th floor of warehouse I.
So this is your first pull right out of that?
I've started picking up more and more of them.
Yeah, those old faux picks were pretty good, especially when you could snag them for $40-$45 at that 90 proof. I know the price is going to go up, but I think the quality is going to go with it. So I'm not too scared about that, but I do kind of want to try an ounce or two of a barrel proof pick before I buy. I think the SRP on the barrel proof picks are going to be like close to $100, if not $100.
It could be. I thought Bourbon for the Masses was looking at one at like $80, which I think is a really good price. If they're $80, I'd be all over that for the extra proof on it.
Yeah, I think. I mean, it's not super old, but then again, it's going to be good whiskey either way.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually thinking about this today, right? New Riff picks are all 4 years old, and they're 110-ish proof on a lot of them. So this wouldn't be that much different, except it's going to be from one of the big boys. It'll be from Brown-Forman. It'll be 4 to 5 years, and it'll be in that same proof range. So if it's $80, and that's, let's say, $20 to $30 more than a Peerless or a New Riff pick, I'm certainly going to give it a try, and if I like it, I'll go back.
Yeah, the New Riff picks are all dynamite too, man. I wish that we got those up here in Maine. That's one thing that we're really kind of doing a swing and a miss on. That the stuff that they got coming out, I mean, especially with how crazy some of them get too, with like the barbecue donuts and the soda and cola and all sorts of crazy stuff that they get popping out in those. It's really interesting to see what they're doing, and their prices are pretty nice too. I do like that.
Really good. And people keep talking about an age-stated product. Well, you'd love to see that coming out of there. But if they keep putting out stuff like this, they're going to be fine.
Sure. I mean, on top of that, all of their shelfies, or at least most of them, I believe, are bottled and bond anyway. So their stuff is going to be more than 4 years old. It's going to be good. Actually, I think this fall when they're going to be starting to release their 6-year stuff. I don't know if they're going to age state any of it, but you could guess that, at 6 years, with how good their stuff has been at 4+, I would only imagine the quality is going to continue to go up from there. I mean, I think Peerless is probably in the same boat too. They just turned their 4 years. I did a re-review of their products. I think it's coming along really nicely. I would like to see it just a little bit older, but I mean, we're going to get there. They've got nothing but time. I mean, that whiskey's already in a barrel, so.
Yeah, I've been happy with the Peerless I've had. I had a small batch and a single barrel, and I really like both of them. And again, they're that $60, $70 price range, depending on where you are in the country. I think the flavor is really good, and if it gets more aged, that's even better. Their process is a little different too, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, that's right. They're using the sweet mash. Yeah, one thing about Peerless I think is a little tough is they did come in priced pretty aggressively, and I don't mean that competitively. I mean that they were priced very high, and they took a lot of abuse for it. They lowered their prices. I think they accepted the fact that they came in a little bit hot. They rolled it back down some, which is good. I mean, obviously they can't cut their price in half because it's going to devalue everything they've done. But they lowered their price down a little bit. It was respectable.
The bourbon, I think, was decently priced, right? I think it was somewhat competitively priced on the bourbon. The rye was ridiculous, but I think if someone was put off by the rye and maybe they shelled out a lot of money 2 or 3 years ago for that first 2-year rye that they came out with it, like 120 MSRP, I
Yeah, it
would
was
say,
loco.
forgive and forget about that. Give the
Right.
bourbon a try and, spend $70 on it. You'll be happy.
Yeah, I think 70 is probably fair for it. Like Jordan says, yeah, they went through that entire process of creating that whole wild bottle and spending a fortune on their glass, which I know they've won awards for having like the greatest looking bottle, which it absolutely is a kick-ass bottle. But that does not change the way it tastes or the cost at the counter. So those are a couple of tough things to swallow. But in the end, the whiskey wound up being pretty good, and it is getting better as they go. So I do like seeing that come out of them.
So did you say you're having Statesman tonight?
Yeah, so
What
I got
bourbon
the
are you having,
Statesman up
John?
there. Got the Statesman up there on the whiskey cam. I dig this one actually. I've had this a couple times. I think it's my second or third bottle, but I think this is one that I sort of passed by for a long time. I knew that it was tied to the movie. I hadn't even seen the movies originally, but I knew it was tied to one of the Kingsman movies, and I just figured it was too gimmicky. It's, I don't know, somewhere between 45 and $55. It's reasonably priced, but it was just like, I don't know, I can get 1920, and I know that I really like that. I can get some of the other offerings from Old Foe, like the Old Foe 100 for half the price. And I just didn't really see why I needed it. And I got into one of those days at the liquor store where I had already bought all the stuff that they had. Nothing new would come in. It was one of those days where the shelves are even looking pretty skinny. And I figured, what the hell? I'll take a flyer on this thing. It's well under my, arbitrary $75 limit. Let me just give it a spin, see what it's like. I bought it and I had it poured. I was like, okay, yeah, it's not bad. And then I kind of left it alone, reviewed some other stuff, came back around to it, tried it again. And I said, okay, I still like this. It wasn't like a fluke, one-time thing. And then I wound up hitting it 2 or 3 nights in a row. And you know what? I bet it was like a hockey season or something where we had, 2 or 3 nights a week where I was going to sit down on the couch with a pour of whiskey and hang out, and kind of got hooked on it a little bit. Like, wow, that's really good. And I kind of kept coming back to it and kept coming back to it. And then I think even Ryan from the Bourbon Pursuit said that on one of their like best whiskeys of the year type of deal, that he said that how much he enjoyed that one. And I was like, shit, the cat's out of the bag. Like, this is going to be one of those things. And I was like, you know what? I better watch the movie now so I understand the context, because this is going to be gone and no one's ever going to see it again. And it wound up not really turning into a whole big deal. The movies are pretty cool. I mean, if you like that style of action movie, I'm into it.
I thought the first one was good. I'm not a movie critic by any stretch. I really enjoyed the
Right.
first one. I'll watch it again if it's on. The second one I think I've seen once, maybe twice. It's all right. But the third one is supposed to be coming out at some point either this year or next year. They just delayed the release because of everything that's going on in the world right now. And I'll definitely watch that when it comes out.
I'd check it out.
I had the Statesman for the first time when I did the Old Forester tour last summer. I was in Louisville with my brother, and that was one of the stops we made. And it surprised me. My expectations were pretty low. But I want to say that the tasting we did was a single barrel Statesman, the 1910, and then we'd signed up for the Gucci tour, so we got a little birthday pour after that.
You had a free cat.
Yeah,
that's interesting. So when you did that little flight there, what stood out as the best? Was the birthday bourbon better than the rest, or?
So we did the birthday bourbon last. So it definitely stood out. The single barrel we had was really good. We picked it up on the way out the door. They had it downstairs in the lobby.
Is this back in the 90 proof single barrel days?
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, you would think though that, like, if you're gonna grab a single barrel of Old Foe and you want it to be good, the one that they're gonna have there after the tour is probably all right, huh? Did we lose you?
I'm back. I think I lost you for a second.
Okay, well, tell the cat to stop stepping on your router, okay?
Yep.
Jay is something of a movie critic. I'm going to have to get his view on both the movie and the Statesman whiskey. I don't think he and I spoke about that one before. I'm going to put a pin in that so I can come back to it. All right, Gun 40. I was expecting to see our friend Eric, also known as Bourbon for the Masses, but I think he is having a little bit of a tough time with one of his kiddos, or I suppose it's only. And I think what I might do is pull Mr. Kogan back up here and see if we can't get a little bit, make sure he's awake, and then see if we can't get a little bit of discussion going on. Kogan, are you alive?
I am alive.
Oh, hey, good. Welcome back. What are you pouring there, buddy?
A New Riff store pick that my
There we
local
go.
group picked.
Power of suggestion has got him.
Really did.
What's the stats on the store pick?
It's 4 years, a month, and 20 some odd days. Came in at 52% ABV, which of all the ones I've seen is a bit on the lower side.
Yeah, that's much lower. I don't know if I've seen one below 110.
And we had to do it virtually over the summer, so
Cool. I mean, being in Maine, I don't have an issue with virtual picks. I think it's kind of cool that you get to spread that out with buddies that you wouldn't get to normally do it with, which I suppose the other side of that coin is that doing it in person would also be setting you up with dudes that you wouldn't normally virtually hang out with. So I suppose there's value on both sides of that, but just the fact that they're able to continue doing picks and allowing groups and stores and people to do this, I think is good, and it keeps those single barrels moving, and it allows guys like us to continually do what it is we want to do, which is talk about whiskey, drink whiskey, write about whiskey. Jordan says the last two Justin's House of Bourbon picks were around 103, which I guess I didn't realize that they were coming in that low. Tell us about
I
yourself.
have a Sealbacks pick from last summer, I think. It was 110.
Yeah, I swear all the ones that I've seen were around 110, even up to like 115-ish.
The Diamond and the Riff that we did for Reddit last year came in right at 110. It was like 55.5%.
Yeah. I remember that one, and I have another one. I don't remember where it's from off the top of my head, but it's like 115 and change, right along those same lines. So let's dig back into the past a little bit here. Count 40. What was your first bourbon or whiskey that you got into when you kind of got into this? Before it was like a hobby, like what was it, just like your casual going out with your buddies having a drink?
Yeah, so I would say, in college, I drank a lot of Canadian Club and Coke. Would have been something I did. I also bartended in college, and there's one thing, at least for me, and I think for a lot of other bartenders, you're never going to have really a carbonated drink last when you're behind the buzz.
Things are getting pretty screwy over there.
You go out, and so I was drinking CC on the rocks.
Well,
maybe a splash of water for a long time.
Okay, I'm gonna let you take a little breather there on your Wi-Fi. I don't want to use. Yeah, you're in and out. Kogan, pass the same question over to you. What was sort of your like gateway bourbon or whiskey or whatever it was that kind of got you into this before you get into the deeper dive?
So all through college, the only thing I would drink was Jameson. I drank pretty good amounts of it.
Yeah, I could see that.
And
we did the same.
Let's see here. I think it was just shortly after graduation. I got into Scotch a little bit, and then I tried a couple of different bourbons, and then went down that rabbit hole pretty deeply, which led me to where I am now.
Which is a guy who's amassed an absolute shitload of reviews and built some pretty good notoriety over the Reddit world.
Somehow.
So let's talk about Scotch for a minute. You casually had some things here and there, then you kind of went into Scotch. What was the allure there? Was it just the idea of thinking like, I know that Scotch is perceived as a premium product and I want to try something good, or what kind of opened that door for you?
So I had a generous friend that let me try a Bruichladdich Black Art 4.1, which is a 23-year-old sherried Scotch that
so you
just
got ruined
blew
right
me away.
That. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, there goes Kogan. I guess it's my turn to get into this since everybody decided to die. It was nice knowing those guys. We'll have to hold a funeral for them. And Kogan has snuck back in just before I decided to shut the door.
But it's what my experience with like the aficionados Discord and several friends, my entire experience once I started deep diving into Scotch, bourbon, or insert various liquors here is, all right, I'm going to start off on the way deep end of the really nice stuff or the really weird stuff, and then we'll slowly move our way back to more normal things.
I like that. Going big, going weird, getting that out of the way, then kind of circling back to something that's much more normal. That's a good way to look at it. Oh, looks like Cone 40's back here. We'll pull him in here. I thought for sure you died. We held a funeral. Kogan brought a cheese plate.
No, I don't have to share that cheese plate, right?
It's going to depend if he's actually alive or not. This may be a figment of your imagination.
He mentioned the words Canadian Club and everything just failed.
Yeah, it's funny how quickly his connection degraded after that, isn't it? For me and my buddies, a lot of it was just sort of like random whiskeys, really. Of course, like the super popular super available stuff like Jim Beam and Jack. Those are always kind of floating around that, everybody had some of that. Being in the Northeast, there's not really a very wide selection. There especially wasn't a number of years ago when, of course, everybody was 21. We made sure to have the garbage things like Seagram 7 and other just vicious whiskeys that would usually be mixed with ginger ale or Coke or something to that effect. And then, as the night gets on, it turns into bottle chugs and things like that, and everybody gets weird.
As someone more recently graduated from college, the experience is still quite similar, I can assure you.
It still wakes you up the old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's aggressive, but it's kind of like, you're building a path to get where you need to go, and you're just using the rudimentary stones that are at your disposal. And then as you go on. So for me, it was sort of, I liked bourbon. And I mean, this is over a decade ago now. And didn't realize quite so much about the hobby side of it. Didn't really understand it as a hobby. It was just sort of hey, I like to have this. I like to cook with it. I like to drink it while I'm cooking. And it's something that I can enjoy and try different bottles of and compare them. And didn't really dig too far into it other than that. I mean, there was a long stretch where Booker's was the most expensive thing that was regularly available on the shelf. And so I assumed, well, Booker's is probably one of the best things going. And, like any good whiskey nerd, I poked around on the internet a little bit, and it turns out people like Booker's. And I was like, okay, well, this all makes sense. It's the coolest thing I can get. It's not like in any type of lottery situation, and I could just go buy it. So I did. And I think at the time it was like maybe $60, $55. It was cheap. Well, comparatively. And at the time, I thought I was buying some highbrow whiskey, which I still really like Booker's a lot, actually. I just don't buy it as much now because of the price. But that was kind of where I went with it. It was, I would have Evan Williams Black. I drank a lot of that. And I would have 1 or 2 bottles of Booker's going and Evan Black. And then I'd kind of mix it up. And my girlfriend at the time, now wife, would bring home a new one for me every now and then and say, try this one. And she would kind of keep an eye on what I did have and what I didn't have. And kind of expanded my palate that way, just kind of going through and testing them and seeing which ones I liked and didn't like. And I sort of narrowed it in that way and kind of did a little bit more exploring and finally got into this whole online whiskey world where everything kind of blows up and you're like, holy shit, there's like 800 different whiskeys I need to try like yesterday. I better get like all my buddies to send me shit. And then, you're building a bourbon bunker and everything's expanding faster than you can control. Are you alive now?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you now.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Thanks for coming back. Things look a little darker over there.
Automeals. Yeah, the audio's better, but the video's mediocre here.
We'll take the good with the bad. At least you're alive.
Yeah, it was sometimes I stop and think about how I've only been reviewing for 2 years and I was like, well, shit, 450 is quite a lot.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, you can do a lot of damage in a short amount of time if you're doing it analytically. Oh, I guess you could do a lot of damage in a short amount of time, non-analytically too, but that might be going down a different path. I don't know if that's anything that we want to recommend to anyone. Joel, thanks for coming in. Nice to see you. Appreciate you. looks like we're circling back a little bit here. I missed this when we were talking about New Riff, but Chris Wiseman wanted to know if the current year bottle is going to be lower. It could be. I wonder if they're as these barrels are getting a little bit older at New Riff, if maybe they're losing some proof here and there. Maybe those younger ones are the ones that were sticking up a little bit higher. Even though, Kogan, the one you said that you just cracked open was just over 4 years, though, right?
Yeah, it's 4 years, a month, and some change.
And it's what, 103 you said?
104.
104, yeah. So I don't know. I don't know how to do the math on any of that, but I'm curious to see where they go as a brand. And I like what they've been doing, so it's all good to me. Conforti, did you down that entire pour of Old Foe while you were having your trouble? I want to make sure that we're here to support you.
Thank you. You see the sweat's coming out. I'm just like, ah.
Yeah, I see you're pulling your hair out. You're going to end up looking like Kogan by the end of the show. You know, Kogan, somebody did mention that you need to get on the Mohawk train.
Yeah,
I don't know,
well,
I
they
don't know
don't grow here anymore, so that ain't going to happen.
Oh, okay. Well, it looks like we might have our good buddy Eric coming in here, the bourbon for the masses. Let's pull him up and see what he's got going on.
What's going on, guys?
Eric, welcome in, man.
Hey, Eric.
Howdy.
A bit late to the party, but I showed up.
That's all that matters, as long as you make it in. So let's talk about what you're drinking.
Right now I'm drinking a good budget bottle, the Walking Dead.
Now let's talk about. I want to break that down. So you said it's a good budget bottle, and I think that there's probably 3 different sentences all there at the same time.
Okay.
Price point. What did you get it for?
$12.
Okay. I no longer question your judgment.
Yeah, most of the stores here are somewhere between $12 and $15 now.
No shit.
Yeah, there are a few holding out. I think the distributor dropped the price, so everybody picked it up and ran with it.
Yeah, they even tried to fire sale that up here, which, I mean, we're talking, I think it's 30-ish. What's the SRP? Is it 30 or 35?
I think it's close to $40.
So I think it was originally 35 on the shelf, and it didn't move. And like, no joke, like, was turning dusty on the shelf. And so maintenance control state, all the pricing is controlled at the state level. The retail is independent. So the retailers run their own stores and everything, but they have to sell everything for the price that the state sets. And going down that road, they kind of run into trouble where they have money tied up in inventory and the bottles don't move. So the state says, okay, let's put this thing on sale. And they dropped it to like 25, I think. It's still, even at that point, I left it alone. It's like, man,
I don't even know if
it's Heaven Hill, isn't it?
Actually, I've changed my tune on that. So the more I taste it, I think it's 4 Roses. It is.
I haven't had it, so I don't have an opinion on it.
It's a Diageo brand, and it's really fruity. So I think I'm just going to say it was probably pulled from younger Bullet stock.
Yeah.
I don't know. Heaven Hill, it doesn't usually come across fruity in any way to me. So
no, you should get that little bit grainy, grassy, nutty type of deal.
Yep.
I'm with you on that. Kogan, have you tried this stuff, the Walking Dead whiskey?
I have not. I haven't even really looked at like the shelves for it. I'm pretty bad about shopping in Ohio for bourbon or whiskey of any sort.
Conforti?
I haven't seen it locally here in my refugee status in Wisconsin, but I feel like I saw it around in New York at a couple of places I hit regularly. Never occurred to me to buy it though.
Never even crossed my mind.
No, not a chance.
No.
If it weren't going at $12, I would never have looked at it. You know.
Oh, yeah, shit. You could accidentally spend $12 someplace, so I can understand that.
You can spend $12 in the Arby's drive-through. I mean,
you might be the only person I know who even knows where to find an Arby's.
Down the street here, but I mean, $12. That's a single combo meal at Arby's.
See, this guy's got it all dialed in. I like the way you do your math. So you also stumbled into that crazy deal. I'm reticent to bring this up. You stumbled into a crazy deal on the Bird Dog whiskey. And that was I believe their age data, right? The 10-year.
Yeah, the 10-year, it got clearanced out here too. I can't even remember what I paid for it now, but
it was something stupid that made me super jealous.
I want to say it was down to like $20 maybe.
Yeah, you said it was either 20, it might even have been less than 20 from when you told me about it. It was a while back, so I don't remember the numbers, but holy shit was I jealous about it because generally speaking, I have nothing but complaints about Bird Dog. And I mean it like it all comes from a good place. We've had this discussion 50 times, so we don't have to go down that road, but the deals that you get down there, they can be pretty crazy where we just don't see shit like that up here in a control state.
Yeah, I bought a few things like that. I bought I don't know if you guys have seen Southwell. It's a Dickel sourced product. It's a 12-year age stated product, 86 proof. One of the stores here clearanced off all of them for like $12.99, and it was a $60 bottle at retail when it came out. So me and a couple friends ran through and scooped up every bottle we could find.
So to expand on that just a little bit, Eric is in Tennessee, and he really finds himself getting into a mess of Dickel here and there.
I take a lot of Dickel in the mouth.
I wasn't going to go that far with it, but I was thinking it.
I mean, you like what you like. It doesn't fit the profile for everyone, but it hits me in the right spot.
Yeah, for sure. Not everything is going to be for everybody, and especially to you where, I mean, it's effectively local whiskey to you. It makes sense that it's something that you probably grew up with it around you. I don't even think my first exposure to George Dickel as a brand was I had an uncle who worked for distribution, and he got like the branded gear, like inner tubes and T-shirts and all that heavy hush shit that said George Dickel on it. And so I wound up growing up calling him George Dickel, not knowing what in the hell it was. And it was just like a nickname for him. And then, I don't know, for my 22nd or 3rd birthday, I think my godfather, somebody got me a bottle. It was my godfather, got me a bottle of George Dickel. And I was like, hey, holy shit, this is whiskey? I never knew about that. And I mean, I thought it was decent at the time. But it was one of those things that now when I started digging into it, it's like, it doesn't really hit the profile that I'm usually looking for. But they have that rolls out that's decent.
Now that those people are starting to pick up on a lot of decanters, Dickel has some pretty sweet old decanters from back in the 70s.
We can mess with those.
There's a golf club one that I know of for sure, and there's like a what do you call it, a powder horn, or what you would people would carry powder in. Yeah. So there's one of those that's a Dickel thing from back in the day. So
yeah, a lot of the old country western guys were big Dickel fans too. Merle Haggard, George Jones, those cats.
Conforti was asking about the difference in the new release on the bottled and bond. So the bottled and bond this year is an 11-year. The one last year was 13. It's just a different batch. I guess like Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, how they come out in different batches. They're just going to crank out a new batch once a year, I think.
And you liked this year's better, did you not?
I like last year's better. Anybody that doesn't like a lot of Dickel will probably like this year's. It's a lot more user-friendly, I would say. It doesn't,
a little bit less Dickel to hurdle.
Yeah, it's just off the top of my head from what I can remember. It had a lot of caramel, and there was a lot of milk chocolate in it as well. So it's a completely different taste profile than what they put out last year.
Would you say that one drink's hotter than the other, or are they just comparatively different as like far as the profile goes?
Just profile-wise, just different.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah.
I had not an issue, I guess, but a tasting gap with the Old Fitz decanters, going from the 9, which I really like, to the 13, which I thought was kind of hot and didn't really do it for me. Like, it wasn't bad by any stretch, but it was sort of a like kind of a hot butter waffle type of deal. But that was like all I really found in there. It wasn't super exciting, and I didn't think it was very well balanced. And then the 15, which I thought was crazy good. So there was like this weird imbalance of like the oldest and youngest were both great, but the middle sibling there was just kind of a bastard. And I don't know if that kind of worked out the same way with the Dickels. Like, if they do, are they age stating those, or is it just sort of like in the press release where they tell you how old it is?
So last year it didn't have an actual age statement on it. It just said the distilled season that it was distilled in.
Oh, okay.
This year it does say 11 years on it. It's stated on the bottle now.
I'm curious to see if that drops again next year. or goes up even from the original, and where that all balances out, what the sweet spot will be.
I don't know. It didn't seem, the one this year didn't seem to get as good of reviews as last year. So, give me a second on that. Hold on.
We'll talk about Eric cracking the pie hole here. Tonight is just full of innuendo when I hang out with you a lot.
I thought that was a feature, not a bug.
No, you know what? You might be right there. It's very, very uncommon for us to not get too inappropriate. Oh, that didn't take long. Was that in the freezer? It must have been in the freezer.
Of course it was, if you can't see the frost on it.
Of course it was. Knowing that you just went off camera there to the right for just a minute and came right back made me think that you were digging through the icebox.
Yeah, so, I mean, we might as well do a freezer pool.
Yeah, why not? It's Tuesday. Tuesday does end in Y. He has cracked the pie hole.
That's delicious.
You heard it here first, man. Does that answer it enough for you, Susan?
I mean,
the
do you
pie hole
like?
is delicious.
It tastes like pecan pie. It doesn't. There's no whiskey taste to it at all.
Oh, we're gonna start this conversation again, huh?
Yeah, might as well. Well, peach crown is just peach crown.
Okay. Well, there's also that to consider. Kogan,
What
flavored pie is that pie hole whiskey?
Apple?
Eric, can you hold it up so he could read it?
It's pecan, I know.
Oh, you're trying to see how somebody pronounces this
I just
word
wanted to
that
go
isn't
around the
me.
horn and get everybody to say it. Just get it out of the way.
If I drink, is that actually made with pecans in any way?
I highly doubt it.
It's probably made with extract of some type.
If you want to see,
Still might kill me. You never know.
there's a price tag for you
Yikes.
Oh yeah, high dollar.
for a 1 liter. This was sent to me from Sutan, so
DJ is here to represent. I would be very shocked if he says it this way, being the Carolina boy that he is, but it is in fact pecan. And if you don't say it that way, then you're probably buying $3.99 whiskey.
pecan is what
Right.
we say here.
Right. Con 40.
Yeah, pecan, right? If you're at a restaurant, you'd say pecan pie. But if you had a couple
Ah.
drinks in you, you're going to accent that pecan.
Is that what you're going to do? Okay. I'm glad we cleared that up.
Tackling the important
Next.
topics.
Yeah, $400 for the pecan pie whiskey. What's a proof point on that?
70.
And did they even call it whiskey on the label?
Canadian whiskey with pecan pie liqueur.
Huh.
It's a blend, you see.
It sure is. It's got to
Yeah.
be good. Does it have an E in the whiskey?
Yes, it does.
That further confuses everything, actually. Canadian whiskey never has the E.
Grandma used to say it's perfect for your pie hole.
I wish we had started out with that. I want that sound bite. Every time you sign into Discord, I want that to just clip.
Oh, this also features the fantastic, another word that we can argue about, caramel coloring.
Yeah, that's spelled like caramel, right? Because that's the actual word.
Yeah, like caramel.
Right. It says caramel on there. You can't say it the right way. I feel like we've done this recently.
It never gets old.
It doesn't. I love this shit. What the fuck is pecan pie liqueur? Well, as a matter of
You can
fact, I
find
don't
it.
know. It's a thing?
Well, I just assume that what he's drinking is pecan pie liqueur.
Well, yeah, it says whiskey with pecan pie liqueur. So
Right. To
I don't
blend.
know I don't know if anybody sells just straight up pecan pie liqueur.
I wouldn't even know where to find such a thing.
In one of those sections, I dare not travel.
Yeah. One of those areas where you could find more than one bottle for $3.99. You
It's usually
could
in a
walk out with an armload of bottles for like $19.
It's in the shopping cart that's up by the register where everything's deeply discounted.
And the wheels are flat on that thing because it hasn't moved in a fucking fortnight. Well, we got a pretty good in-depth how-to here from Hokie on how you can make your own, which is scary and also interesting.
It's worth a shot. So what are you guys drinking? Since I've
since you tuned in late here, let's go around the horn here. Kogan, go ahead and lead us off. Well, tell us what you started with, and then come back around to what you got now.
The Master's Keep 17-year bottled and bond, and then moved on to a New Riff single barrel I helped pick.
Gun 40.
The Hawaiian Hammer, the Bourbon Pursuit Old Forester pick at 90 proof. And it's got a pretty sexy sticker on it if you haven't seen it.
I'd say hold it up, but I'm not entirely sure if we'll be able to get that through the broadcast. With the feline systems administrator you got over there controlling your internet connection. I am on the Old Forester Statesman as highlighted here in the whiskey cam.
Have they discontinued Statesman now? I've heard varying things on it. I
kind of hope they don't because I do enjoy it. I mean, then again, I don't buy it very frequently, so who knows? Like that's exactly how shit disappears.
Yeah, it's one of those bottles that I've passed a million times and never picked up for some reason.
Have you ever tried it?
No.
I'll have to send you some. I did the same thing. I was talking about it earlier with Kogan, I believe. This is one that I walked by on the shelf a bunch of times and got into one of those skinny days in the liquor store where nothing new had come in quite a while. I hadn't tried it out yet, and I was like, well, you know what the hell? I'll just grab it and try it. And it kind of came back to it once or twice. And each time I was like, you know what, this is pretty good. And then finally I kind of got into a stretch of having it 2 or 3 nights and kind of got hooked and decided, you know what, I just like this. It's not just okay. I do enjoy it. And I went through that bottle pretty quick and grabbed another one and went slower on that one because I had, a bunch of other stuff in the review pile. But now that I've come back to it, I got this one again just the other week for a birthday gift. And it kind of worked out great that my wife grabbed this one for me. She went and kind of rooted through the whiskey bunker, made sure that I didn't already have one, and then picked it up for me here. And I'm pretty pumped to get it again because it is one that I do enjoy, but I'd be a little bit sad if it went away.
I can't remember where I heard that at, to be honest.
Was it right here? Did you just make it up?
No, I didn't make it up.
We're starting the rumor here.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, we can go ahead and do that.
Wait for it to go on sale for like $8 at Eric's local store first.
I'd buy it at $8.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd buy cases at $8, man.
Yeah,
$8. That gets you 2 bottles of your pecan liqueur that you have there,
or probably some number of curly fries at the drive-thru.
I'm gonna guess 11 curly fries. There's also an apple pie and a cherry pie in this that I found out later on as well.
So you're saying for less than the price of an Arby's meal, you could have 3 full pie holes.
Yeah, pretty much enough pie hole to wreck everyone in this room.
Yeah, we could all collectively get drunk and diabetes for like $12.
I'm sure there's a massive sugar content in here.
There fucking has to be. Only 35% of that is alcohol.
See, but at what point would you rather just do moonshine, like cherry flavored moonshine, peach flavored moonshine, than the Canadian, liqueur whiskey?
Yeah, that's tough.
That's a tough question.
Real moonshine or the store-bought moonshine?
Like the come in a mason jar with cherries in it moonshine, I assume, right?
I'd try it.
I think it depends on who you're with and where you are.
Do we need to pull that? Do I need to go over here and pull that out also?
How big of a freezer you got in there? Yeah, here we go. Oh man!
Ask and you show.
This is under the sink. He uses this for cleaner. Under the sink is the bottle of fucking.
It's like a chemical. You stick it under the sink so it doesn't get near anything else.
And when the bottle gets below half, you just pour a little turpentine back in to top it up. Oh, that's actual shine.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's fucking terrible.
Well, I can see why you keep it under the sink.
Yeah, like
you were right. He does use it as cleaner.
Yeah.
You know, the only thing it's useful for is turning into like apple pie or something. People don't necessarily agree. I've heard other people say, "Oh, this moonshine is just not good. You got to try some good moonshine." No, it's not out there. I mean, it's like drinking 190 proof vodka and being like, "Yeah, this shit's good." No,
right. There's a reason why we age whiskey in barrels and make it taste good.
It's just not good.
So let's go ahead and have a taste.
No, I'm not drinking
it. The man who will chug $3.99 pie hole says no to the turpentine. So you know it's bad.
I would rather go and pull the caramel crown back out of the freezer.
Ooh, I don't think we should do that on a Tuesday.
No, let's not.
Or any day.
Right. Let's leave that one in the back of the freezer for now.
Yeah, let's do that.
Well, fellas, we're coming up here on the top of the hour, so I think I want to start closing things out. But what I'd like to do is kind of let each of you plug your individual whiskey venue, if you would like. Conforti, I don't know if you have something in that world that you want to talk about, but if you do, give you a minute to think about it. Kogan, I know that you've got the biggest stockpile of reviews, so if you want to go ahead and kick it off and let us know. Since Jay's not here, you're the review king, so.
Oh man, that's a lot of pressure.
Not really. I mean, think about this right now. Jay's sitting on a dock someplace, probably drinking dock, probably not wearing any clothes.
I think I'd rather switch places with him. But anyway, I'm the Auditor Reviews on Instagram. I'm LIFO, an accountant on Reddit. I have a handful of reviews between both, and that's where you can find me.
I like it. And the most recent review is one that you should all check out because it's the newest Wild Turkey Master's Keep 17-year bottle and bond. And spoiler alert, it's good. So the review is going to be good. Check that out, get his notes on that, and then use that to compare to your own notes, see what you think. And if what you think kind of lines up with what Kogan wrote, then you should probably read the rest of his shit because he knows what he's talking about. Speaking of knowing what you're talking about, I don't know which one I want to go to for that.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Conforti, did you come up with anything yet?
I got nothing to plug. There's bars and stuff I could plug, but there's no point. It's just next time I'll have something. We'll work on it for next time.
Okay, good enough for me. Eric?
All right, so I am Bourbon for the Masses at bourbonforthemasses.com. I've got a few reviews on there. I don't really know what I'm talking about, though, so don't trust me.
I mean, you laid some pretty good groundwork. You came in here, you chugged a bunch of fucking frozen pie hole and talked about really bad moonshine. I'm sure everybody is going to take you at your word from here on out.
Well, I mean, you can watch my YouTube shit for accuracy. I've got going on right now. I got a couple episodes left of a budget bourbon bracket challenge, a bunch of under $20 stuff. We're
Watch
down
him drink
to
some Old Crow. It's great.
Old Crow got knocked out.
The Crow didn't make it.
I'll spoil it. It's worth watching. That may be the most heinous shit I've ever.
It was entertaining watching him drink the Old Crow.
I didn't expect it to be that bad, honestly.
Dude, I have an Old Crow story before we totally sign off here. When I was in college, I played lacrosse, and lacrosse for me was always one of those games where I was like, it's a little bit cumbersome to wear a cup when you play. And dudes who have played know what I'm talking about. And I was at a point where I was like, you know what? I don't need to wear a cup. This is fine. And then I took a lacrosse ball in the pills on I think it was Monday or Tuesday, early in the week, and created some extreme discomfort that lasted for about 3 or 4 days with a good amount of swelling. And I spent a lot of time with an ice pack in my crotch and gimping around campus with sweatpants on and being extremely uncomfortable. And after the third day or so, I was the captain of the team, and one of the guys on the team came to me with a bottle, and he was like, look, man, I know how we could fix your problems. Let's just go sit down, watch Scarface, and drink a bottle of whiskey. I was like, you know what? You kind of had me at sit down, so let's try this. And so we were, at the time, of course, 21, but living in an area where you weren't allowed to have liquor because we were 21. And I had the bottle of Old Crow tucked into my sweatpants as I was gimping around campus, and it fell out of my sweatpants and shattered on the ground. And my buddy picked up the bottom third or so of the bottle, which had a little bit of whiskey in it, and we quickly drank it and both tried to not throw up for about 10 minutes straight. And I felt so much worse after all of this that I decided I don't need to drink Old Crow anymore in the rest of my born days. That's my Old Crow story. It was weird. The crow, that is. Not getting hit in the nuts. This is how you end a live stream. Well, that's how you make it weird, that's for sure.
So did you guys talk about what was your best whiskey of the year so far or anything like that before I jumped on?
No, our guests were what you could call coming and going for a while there. We had a couple of hiccups. So rather than digging too deep into any of that, I decided to sort of leave it all alone and keep it service value. Just have a little bit of fun and talk about what we got going on and, you know, cycle everything through. We didn't go that deep, put it that way. Do you need to?
No, I was just seeing what some opinions were out there, if everybody had already gone through that. So
no, we didn't dig into it, but it's something that we should probably put a pin in and come back to. We'll do another one of these where we kind of bring people in from the Whiskey Net, let them tell us what they think, tell us why we're idiots and all that.
Guaranteed, I'm an idiot every time I get on a camera.
Well, yeah, that's why we love you.
I look forward to seeing a pie hole in your top 5 at the end of the year.
You know, I've got a bunch of stuff coming in right now. I told some people about this, but I'm dropping a flavored whiskey bracket challenge.
How many are going to be in the total bracket?
I'm hoping to get to 32.
Ooh.
Wow. I can't believe you do that to yourself.
There is, in fact, something wrong with you.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be freezer pulls, right? We're going to pull them straight from the freezer.
You'd better have Bird Dog Blackberry in there.
It is, actually. Bird Dog Blackberry is one. I think I've got like 21, 22 right now. And Bird Dog Blackberry is in the mix.
Quick true story about Bird Dog Blackberry.
Yes.
So a year and a half ago, when I was still in a local group around here, a couple of us created a run on the local stocks of Bird Dog Blackberry by hyping it up and saying it was being discontinued, and shelves were cleared. People were just going to liquor stores and clearing out the entire shelf of Bird Dog Blackberry.
So let's talk about that, Forrester.
Such a good story.
With Statesman. We started the rumor here tonight. If this disappears from shelves, I'm going to be fucking blaming Togan for sure.
I've never even had it.
Yeah, but here we go. Starting the rumor. How many times have you had Blackberry? Bird Dog Blackberry?
Nope.
Exactly.
Same thing.
That's right. The conspiracy starts here.
Now, if they have a 10-year age-dated Bird Dog Blackberry, then I might be interested.
Now, let's see. This is a whole new avenue. We need somebody to crank out some high-age flavored bourbon.
Why would anyone do that?
Because it's what the people want.
Yeah, it's what the masses need. Bourbon for them masses.
Listen, what we really want this year is barrel-proof, 12-year-old vanilla vanilla knob. That's what we want.
Holy shit. I'm going to feel pretty bad about my fucking life in 3 years when we look back at this, and that's like what's on the shelf as this year's release. And I'm going to fucking blame you and be like, Eric, this is the night that you ruined whiskey for everyone. And then I'm going to make you move to Canada and only drink Crown.
You know, I've considered moving to Canada. I tried some Crown. There's a limited edition, like old ass Crown. I don't remember how old it is, 12, 13 or something. a year-old Crown, and it's good. It's pretty good.
I don't.
John, I feel like you could buy the Knob Creek 12-year and infuse that with vanilla and just ship that to Eric and check that off the list and save humanity.
I could save the planet right here.
That's got to have.
This is going to be our ultimate downfall.
If it happens, it happens, and I was here to take care of them asses, and that's all that matters.
This is exactly why you cannot host an event like Mash and Drum does with his Blendageddon, because you would have people send you absolute fucking tortoise shit in a bottle, and you would be like, well, hold on, this isn't that good, but let me put it in my freezer and come back and do a live stream with it in 3 nights. And after I have 4 pulls of this weird ass Crown Royal, I'm going to try it.
Well, speaking of that, Blake sent me, not Blake from Sealbox, Blake from Discord that we're in. So he sent me a 6-pack of blind craft samples for a stream coming up soon.
Oh, I cannot wait for that.
And I
don't do it on a Tuesday because I need to watch that one.
It will be the worst of the worst.
Oh, I'm going to ask him what they were too, so I know what they are when you're drinking them. I want to look them up and see the 7-month-old whiskey aged in a 5-gallon pail. Holy shit, guys. Okay. We should have started out with weird and embarrassing story night, because this could have got very, very weird. And I'm usually looking for a very specific type of weird, and I think this could have done it. I have a bourbon karma. So the whole reason I believe in bourbon karma is because of a specific story that I'm not going to get into tonight. I want to tease it a little bit because there will be a night where we do this again. And when we get to the right level of weird, that story will come out. And I think that it's talking about the Crown is what made me think of it too. So I just want to go ahead and tease that a little bit because we're going to do this again soon. And holy shit, is it going to be fun. So I suppose from here, I will wrap it up here. Everybody's kind of had a chance to say their piece. You guys want to stick around for just a minute in the green room after, we'll have a little chat. But I want to thank everybody here for watching the Weekly Whiskey. And I know Jay's on vacation, but I think we were able to still hammer out some pretty good stuff. I got to sneak in some news that I don't know if he wanted me to tell you or not. So that's cool. On top of that, we got to have a couple of pours with these guys, tell weird stories, hang out. If you're new, I want to thank you for showing up. And if you're not new, I still want to thank you for showing up because I appreciate you taking the time out of your Tuesday to come see us, hang out. If you're here looking for Jay, sorry. Either way, appreciate you coming in. Appreciate everybody who subscribes and hangs out. And also, come join the Whiskey Net in Discord. You can check us out at thewhiskeynet.com. That will bring you to our Patreon page. You can find the Discord info. We're all there hanging out, ready to do this every Tuesday night. Looking to have a good time. So, guys, if you have anything left in your glass here. Everybody who came in,
Drank
everybody
it all.
who chatted. Kogan, good work. Cheers, fellas.